I'm such a fan of all of your films, and I'm particularly interested in asking about, you know, a parallel between this film and Whale Rider, which is the special connection that human beings can have with animals. Why does that speak to you so much?
It was such an interesting proposition to tell a war story in this context. I think animals, our relationship with animals kind of expands our humanity in a strange way. I mean, even just if you look at the way we watch movies, sometimes we don't cry when the people die. We always cry when the dog dies. So that this was a very interesting way of applying or an application for a war story, because it had so many interesting ideas about what is human and what is animal, what is a cage and what is sanctuary. All of those things were very interesting to discuss within the cinema of this.
And my understanding is that you were not interested in making a, quote, war movie, unquote. That was not something you wanted to do. So obviously there were aspects of this, the human story and the animal story, that led you to still do it.
Yeah, yeah, of course. It just seemed like a really different way in. And the other thing that was so compelling for me was that it was a woman's experience of war. Antonina virtually never leaves the grounds. So here's a woman who is fighting her war with love and compassion, providing sanctuary for such traumatized people, but doing it in a way that kept their dignity and their humanity with art and with music. And that very sort of feminine experience of war felt like new territory and important to talk about.
If I understand correctly, the use of animatronic or CGI non-real animals was kept to a bare minimum. How did you determine when you had to do it that way?
We did it that way when we couldn't do it safely and respectfully with real animals. I couldn't conceive of a way to make an authentic movie out of this true story about a female zookeeper and use fake animals. I couldn't do that, and we didn't have the budget to do that anyway. You know, and when I think about it, working with the animals was exactly the same way as we work with the actors, which is to create. No, I don't mean it like that. To create an environment where they feel very safe and able to be themselves. I mean, this is the difference between a CG tiger and a real tiger. And the CG tiger is always going to be my idea of what a tiger's going to do. And I'm not a tiger. We will never understand that. But when you have a real exotic animal, or any animal, they're so wonderful, so themselves, so surprising. Everything they do is brilliant. So you just have to really train the crew, the humans, to be comfortable with the idea that we kept back. We work with the animals' natural behaviours, and we observed the magnificent Jessica Chastain work with them. There is not a single time in this movie where anybody is doubling for Jessica Chastain. That is her and her spooky, animal whispery connection with those animals. She loved them so much, and vice versa.
As you say, this is a woman's story during wartime, but that transferred to the production as well. It's a book written by a woman, a female screenwriter. Your camera operator was a woman. Your stunt coordinator was a woman. Almost all the producers, I know Jamie Patricoff.
Yeah, honorary.
Basically everyone was female behind the scenes in that regard too. What do you think that added? Why was that important to you? Was it important to the people who brought you on? How did that all come about?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it was by design. But it wasn't. It was not at all completely organic. I feel like now, in retrospect, that this story has been very carefully cared for and handed from Antonina, who wrote a diary that was discovered by Diane Ackerman, who wrote a book, who passed it to Angela Workman via these. The book was read by one of our female producers, and it's just been carefully handed from woman to woman all the way along until we got to shooting. And then, I was really surprised when that picture was taken for Jessica's article, that with all the women in the Hollywood Reporter. I didn't realise, I had no idea, because you just hire the best person for the job. And, frequently those people are female. And, it's normal. Right? Yes.
Well, it's a really terrific film. Congratulations.
Thank you
Niki
so
Caro.
much.